Commission member Amanda Scriven. I thought they did have a very busy year this year.
Yes, it's crazy. Good, all right. Any discussion for Mike or our resident planning commissioner Chambers?
I was going to ask myself a question.
We do it later. Okay. Item C, Northwest Pump Station, Dan.
Ralph wants to present.
Ralph wants to present it.
Good evening, council. One of our pump stations located at G Drive is in need of a roof and gutter replacement. So it's a pretty straightforward project. It's been approved in the preliminary budget. And according to the bid and purchase policy, I went out and got 3 different quotes for this roof replacement. And just looking to get a council approval for going with a little bit of Reisner roofing. We're going to switch from the shingle roofs and go with a closed, covered fastener sheet metal roof. So, and like I say, it's a pretty straightforward project. If the council has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer. Yes.
I have one, maybe I missed it, but I was looking at the bids and the Ostrander and the other guy, they mentioned warranties, and I didn't see one from Reisner. I mean, you said that they've done other work for us and it's been acceptable and everything. Does their roof not have any type of warranty?
I noticed that too. Yeah, it's got a 40-year and a 50-year from the other 2
Yes.
bids, and this one doesn't have anything. Reisner's are a great company. I recommend them all the time when people ask me who's a great roofer. They're local, the other companies are out of town. But
Right.
it is a great question.
And my apologies, I didn't include that information, but it includes a 45-year
Okay.
warranty. It was a very large.
I couldn't
package.
imagine that a metal roof would not be warranted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that was one of the specifications. I said it had to meet a minimum of 40-year warranty. But like I say, they emailed me a very large document, and it was in the fine print of it. I read through it, but yes, they have a 45-year warranty.
Cool.
And, also wanted to clarify too, with the Ostrander quote, the total price at the bottom they gave isn't the price for the steel warranty with hidden fasteners. In the red on that, I tallied that up, and their total was $9,515. So the $6,560 at the bottom is incorrect. That was when they first sent it to me. That $6,560 was for like a pole barn roof with the exposed nails or screws, and it didn't include the hidden fastener like you find on homes or modern buildings today. So I asked them to revise it. They took the original quote and they just added a few lines in that other price. So that's why the red dollar signs and the highlighted was to reflect the equivalent quote.
And what's the time frame of contract to finishing roof?
It sounded like talking to Reisner's, I imagine about a week of when they get started.
Weather permitting?
Yeah, weather permitting. It sounded like a pretty straightforward job.
2,500 under budget, right? Because we set aside 10,000, I think, for this repair originally.
Yes, that's
So we're saving some money.
Yeah, I was happy to see that come in too. And like Greg said, Reisner's has done quite a bit of work for the city. We have previous relations. They've done an outstanding job. So I couldn't see any reason not to accept their little bid.
Is that the last of the buildings down there with the shingle roof?
And last of the building.
Yeah,
is-
that we're gonna be doing like for that pump station, or,
That's at that location, there's just one building with shingle, any type of roof. The other structure that we have is the actual concrete reservoir.
Right.
But that is not shingle, that's a concrete prefab structure.
Okay.
So,
All right, any other questions for Ralph?
Make a motion to approve the bid from Reisner Roofing.
I'll support.
Any other discussion?
I'm just filling in for Froggy Man here.
Sue?
About time you're in your keep.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Canfield,
Yes.
Mayor DeBoer,
Yes.
Councilmember Salzweedl,
Yes.
Councilmember Yankovic.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Rob. Item D, Dan, park use agreements.
There are several park use agreements that will be expiring in March of this year. There's provisions in these agreements to allow an extended on a one-year basis. This was similar to what was granted to Lowell Little League back in December. The January Parks Board meeting, the board agreed to recommend the council to allow each agreement to be extended for 1 year with no changes. And then this would bring all park user agreements to a similar time period and fee structure for 1 more year.
No changes on there. And this is lacrosse, backyard dreams, the YMCA, and football, right? Okay. Any questions for Dan? Motion to approve the park board recommendation.
I'll make that motion to approve it.
There we go.
I'll support.
All right. Any other discussion? Sue?
Councilmember Canfield,
Yes.
Mayor DeBoer,
Yes.
Councilmember Salzweedl,
Yes.
Councilmember Yankovic,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers.
Yes.
All right, item E, West Michigan Warrior Park Use Agreement.
Well, we did have one more group come to us that would like to use our facilities at Rec Park for baseball. The West Michigan Warriors are a travel team. They're looking for a facility to hold practices twice a week, Sundays and Thursdays. In the past, Backyard Dreams used the field on Thursdays. We went and talked to them, and they indicated they will not be using it on Thursdays this year, so it would be available for these folks. And put together a use agreement for them. And it's identical to all the other agreements and with the same fees. And it would only be for 1 year, so that we keep these all in the same venue.
Perfect. All right. Any other questions for Dan about the Warriors? Motion to approve that park use agreement.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Discussion. Sue?
Mayor DeBoer,
Yes.
Councilmember Salzweedl,
Yes.
Councilmember Yankovic,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Canfield.
Yes.
More baseball, the better. Thanks, Dan. Michael, Commercial and Industrial Districts Ordinance 20-01.
At its meeting of January 13th, 2020, the Planning Commission reviewed the commercial and industrial districts and suggested the following changes. And I also included a red line copy for you to look at. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended that the Lowell City Council approve ordinance 20-01.
There's the red line.
That's where Andy had changed it. It would have said like, if you go front yard 25 feet, well, it's minimum front yard. It was just adding wordage in to streamline and clean this thing all up and make it read easier, especially when people are trying to do these things. So it just simplifies everything by doing these.
Major omissions and removals? No?
There was some that we struck out and moved to other places. There's others that we put in. Section 12-05, outdoors merchandise display. We actually added a whole new wordage to it. Outdoor displays of good or material shall be prohibited in the requirement of the front yard. Goods and materials stored in the side yard shall be screened from view from the street or abutting properties. That was added in there.
We added 122, or you added 122, make it so you can't obstruct pedestrian traffic.
Correct.
Display.
Yep.
Effort to be a little more walkable.
Yep, make sidewalks more walkable.
One question I had in several places, we changed what used to be lot coverage used to be 60% including building and parking areas. And now it says maximum lot coverage, just 60% with no definition of what 60% is. Is that 60% of the building alone?
Yeah.
So you can, 60% is,
That was something that we'd actually brought up with Andy too, and I thought he was gonna.
seems like that should be defined in
Yeah,
this
it
building.
was where it's gonna be at, yeah, and it just, I didn't see that in there, but, so it didn't get.
Is that something we should add in there, do you think? it just doesn't specify 60%, what the 60% is. I think it should be defined in there as buildings.
Sure.
It was something you guys intended.
Yeah, they can come back to us and,
Yeah, because this is where they struck it out, right?
yeah.
And we've made that mistake before of leaving things
Yep.
open to interpretation.
Yeah, it's just my concern.
Yep, all right, motion to table until it goes back to planning for clarification.
Do we need to table it, or they just make that one change?
Let me get it.
Actually, you have the authority to make that change yourself.
Yeah, it's a relatively, Marty, you're calling the shots on this, but
Yeah, put it back in.
Yeah, let's just put back in the wordage and, you know, and then that just simplifies it, especially about Andy being here to, it was right at one time, and Andy changed it.
All right, so we're putting it back, motion to approve ordinance 20-01 with that change.
Mayor, can I want to point out one change just so everyone understands it. If you look at permitted uses in the C2 district, which is my page 3, you can see that they've added some additional permitted uses in the C2 district. Residential dwellings in the same building with commercial uses, mixed-use developments and arts and galleries and museums. And then if you go to the next page, special land uses permitted, they've added multi-family dwellings and deleted residential dwelling in the same building with commercial uses. So what they deleted as a special use is now a permitted use, and they've added as a special use multi-family dwellings.
so that means in a commercial central business district, the whole main floor could just be all residential, where in the past it couldn't.
Yeah, it's not specific because it just says residential dwellings in the same building with commercial uses, so you technically could have residential on the first floor and commercial on the second.
Oh, yeah.
If I remember right, that was supposed to be for, verbiage of that was for our second story development, to help ease it or make it easier to do second story development.
Well, the apartments above the
Yeah,
stores.
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know about residential.
No,
Main
I don't, yeah.
I don't know that it'll ever be a problem, but I think it could be a problem.
It is allowed, when we did the Main Street Inn, there is a clause in the building department, or in the description that says you're allowed to have, if it's less than 10 rooms and serve food, there's a loophole in the law that allows it. Now, I think we still had to go through special use stuff, but there's a loophole there in the law. A lot of handicap and fire protection things don't apply if it's less than 10 rooms. And it was meant for boarding houses and bed and breakfast type applications. But I guess that's more in the building code than it still required a special use permit.
Just as a suggestion, if you don't want to adopt this evening, I would recommend that you have Andy Moore at your next meeting, because he probably could provide the background.
This is a little bigger deal than the,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Marty thinks this is different than the direction. we're
Yeah, I'm
but-
pretty sure it's different. Yeah, I just don't remember being discussed that way.
We
That's
just
all.
need Andy here. That's all. All
Thank
right.
you, Dick, for clarifying that
All
for
right,
us.
so now we are back to a motion to table till the next meeting, so Andy can be here to tell us what's what.
I make a motion that we table this till the next meeting.
Oh, I'll support that.
All right. Any other discussion? Sue?
Councilmember Salzweedl,
Yes.
Councilmember Yankovic,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes,
Councilmember Canfield,
Yes,
and Mayor Moore.
Yes. Last one, fiscal year 2021 budget calendar. Mike?
I've given you an updated letter in front of you due to a change in my schedule for the next couple months.
18 years.
Well, yeah. We're beginning to prepare for the upcoming fiscal year 2021 budget. My responsibility in the city charter is to provide the budget, provide the council with a balanced budget. I will ensure this occurs by the third Monday in April as the city charter requires me to. While it's obviously important to engage the council and general public regarding the proposed budget, be holding that session via an all-day budget session on Saturday, April 25th, 2020. Department directors will be presenting their budget line item by line item on that day. Public hearing for the budget hearing will be held on Monday, May 18th, 2020. The council can approve the budget that evening, or if we need to make changes, we can do so. Listed below are the dates you need to be aware of. From February 3rd to March 13th. Department directors will prepare and work with the city manager and treasurer on budget worksheets. March 16th, city manager requires that department directors have their budgets submitted to me. From March 16th to April 10th, city manager, myself, and the city treasurer will be reviewing budget requests and making modifications as needed. April 13th to April 17th, we will be publicating that budget. April 20th, 2020, the budget will be submitted to the council. April 25th will be the budget work session. May 4th, 2020, the public hearing for fiscal year 2021 budget date would be set at that council meeting. May 18th would be the budget public hearing for fiscal year 2021, and the council can approve that evening. And July 1, 2020, fiscal year 2021 begins. I'm recommending the budget calendar is approved as presented.
So that May 18th meeting is the one people need to
That's a public hearing, yes.
come out and
That's a
talk
public
to
hearing.
us. Perfect.
Yes.
All right.
But the meeting on the April 25th will be open to the public.
Right.
Where are we doing that at?
I haven't designated a location, usually like an hour.
Yeah.
I'll confirm with them so we can do that here.
All right, motion to approve the budget calendar as presented.
Support, or?
I'll make that motion.
I'll support it.
All right, Sue?
Councilmember Yankovic,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Canfield,
Yes.
Mayor DeVore,
Yes.
Councilmember Salzweedl.
Yes.
Board and commission reports, Cliff?
The historical district is sort of in a hold. We have a couple requests in, but we're waiting to see how much the community fund will give us of our $100,000 grant request. There's a lot going on.
Is that the only thing you need? Okay. Jim's LCTV meeting, Friday, February 7th at 5 p.m. at City Hall. Your applications for this cycle are due. So have them in by 4:59. That it?
Yes.
Okay, right.
I was out of town, nothing to report.
Marty?
I have mine coming up, so next meeting I'll have a full report, like power and planning.
Fantastic. I don't have anything either. Mike, city manager report.
Just a couple of items. First one is I notified at the last council meeting that I would be off from March 12th to March 30th. Those dates have changed. My wife had her delivery date bumped up 2 weeks, so I will be off from February 27th until I will be returning March 13th on that Thursday. So that is, hopefully that doesn't change again. I'm working this week on the LCTV grant. I'm putting a grant in for assistance for Ware Road. We should receive a draft copy of a report from VLDI this week. I anticipate them going to be at either the next council meeting or the following council meeting, preferably next one because they won't be at the March 2nd meeting, to give you an update as to what is occurring. Last week I did submit a CDBG grant to the county for Amity Street, so I'm waiting to hear on that. If you heard this week, the governor made an announcement in her State of the State address that she will be bonding for $3.5 billion in revenue for state highways. The majority of that funding, I believe there's 46 projects that are going to Southeast Michigan. Very few projects pretty much anywhere in the state besides Southeast Michigan. Also, that funding does not address any local roads, any local streets, any county roads that are controlled by the Road Commission. That bond funding does not address that. Also, something I learned while I was at the city managers conference that wasn't really made clear at our State of the State is that they will be using Act 51 dollars, your gas tax funds, to be paying for the bond payments for that. So I don't know what that will do to our Act 51 and municipalities statewide. I don't know if we'll see a reduction in what we have now, but we may not see any additional funds coming forward. But that's,
Didn't they propose another gas tax increase too recently? I thought I just read that the other day.
there's talk right now, there's bills in the legislature about possibly county or local, the option for county or local registration fees and county and local gas tax. It can be, they're looking at either doing it at the county or the municipal level. It'd still require a vote of the people if those were options were put into place. But those are bills currently that are in the legislature. I also believe they're looking right now at some modifications to the Headley Amendment and Proposal A as well.
Unbelievable.
Be interested to know that the annual debt service on those bonds from Act 51 monies is $300 million a year.
That's not gonna come from, that's gonna come from us. That's gonna come from the municipalities piece. I can tell you that right now. So the state's taking out loans with money that should be going to people who, it doesn't matter. I can, I'll talk about it later.
And
Yes, we got a question.
Make a statement.
Sure.
Sure.
My understanding of the bond funds that have been proposed is that will come out of the state trunk line fund, which is MDOT's portion of Act 51, not municipal and county. If that changes, that, it could be different. That's my understanding today.
Yeah, we were.
So I just want to clear that up.
Yeah, we were told a little differently, but okay, that's good to know. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thanks, Dennis.
And lastly, as I have informed the council before, our city attorney, Dick Lent, is pulling back the reins as city attorney, and he's going to be reducing his hours as he eventually, I think, will eventually retire. But I do want to thank Dick for his years of service to the city. We still have him around. He'll definitely provide the institutional knowledge that really none of us really have for as long as we want him. But I consider Dick a friend, and I really appreciate him helping me. My first 2 years here were pretty rough, and so he was a major part of helping me through a lot of those things. Also, wanted to introduce Jessica Wood. I know you've worked with her in the past. Jessica, if you wouldn't mind coming up and say a little bit.
By the way, I felt it was time since Greg was taking more vacations than me. I have.
All right, got a little contest going.
Hello, I think I've met you all before, but I'm Jessica and I work with Dick at Dickinson Wright. I just had to do the math and I can't believe it, but I've been in practice for 24 years. 20 of those spent in municipal law, so representing cities of all different sizes and all different situations. So I love working with governments, and I've spent most of that time in private practice representing dozens of different municipalities, although I did spend 4 years in-house at the city of Grand Rapids. I was also city attorney for Benton Harbor when it had an emergency manager. So anyway, it's been an interesting, fun ride, and I'm really excited for this opportunity to work for you. So if you have any questions, I don't live in Lowell, but my horses do. And I spend a lot of time in Lowell at Kaiser's and Tractor Supply Company and at the vet. So I'm married, I have 2 kids, and really have a passion for municipal law. So excited about this, and if you have any questions, just let me know.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
All right. Appointments, Susie and I have reached out to every single person on the list, so, and the board had chairs or whatever. So as those start coming in, we'll start knocking some of these off the list, but we still don't have any new applications. So Council comments, Cliff.
We saw 2 life-saving awards given out earlier this afternoon, or this evening. One of them, I think he was there in 2 minutes. I think those 2 people that are alive today would appreciate the fact that we have a local police department.
Great. Okay, great.
Echo what Cliff said, it is great, that's the things that we have here with a local department, and one of many examples of things that really go much better because of that, so there's a cost for that, but I think it's well worth it, so thanks for the great job you guys do, and what you're encountering on the streets today is not what you signed up for, but at least here in Lowell, we're a little better than some of the other areas, so thank you. Congratulations, Dick, on your retirement. How long have you been the city attorney here?
You know, I don't even know, at least 30 years. I would probably say 32 years, I think.
Right. Well, thank you for everything. Jessica, I've been real impressed with, you're helping us with the marijuana stuff, that you were very knowledgeable on that. And I think you've been very thorough in the things that you've done. One of the things we talked about as a council a couple of years ago were a few of the contracts that we had at looking at those. And the city attorney was one of those. I can't imagine that anybody could compete with you guys based on your history with us and the stuff that's in your files and the job you've done for us. But I think we should probably still at some point put out an RFP and just look at other options. I can't imagine anybody have the talent or resources and facilities that you guys do. But I think our due diligence is still, that was one of the things we talked about looking. There were a few high-profile accounts that we spent money on and affected our performance as a city, and that was one of them. So I still think we should probably do that going forward. But it is no way a dish on you guys at all. You've been excellent and the best, but I just think that it was a job that we as council persons are supposed to do. It would be one vote to do that. That's all I have.
Marty.
First off, I'd like to thank Lowell PD for always being there for us. It just shows that they're a great asset to our city. Second, Ralph, it was good to see you in the snowplow truck. He come by the house and he went nice and slow while I was shoveling in my driveway. However, Kent County has to learn what the speed limit is. I was standing on the sidewalk as Jim taking test, and here he comes. He never slowed down once. He put snow all the way to the door of my store, so that was not fun.
I wasn't brave enough to stand out there with a shovel face.
The smart guys run for government.
Jessica, I've enjoyed working with you. I think you got a lot of knowledge, and it'd be fun to see how we can torment you and make your life miserable for a little while. Yep, and Dick, congratulations on slowing down. However, I truly believe it's because the Packers didn't make it to the Super Bowl. You're going to spend more time in Green Bay having conversations to see if they can't play a little better so you can use your seat there one more time in the year.
Right.
Well, I don't have anything left to say now. I'm not gonna go last anymore. How about that? Motion to go into closed session to discuss the upcoming labor negotiations.
I'll make that motion.
Support?
Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?